Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Anyhow, this week has not been one of them good weeks. I'd like to get into it, but a couple people lost their lives on Danforth. And they're usually, they finally got a good guy with a shooter to go murder everybody, sadly. So they're all going anti-gun on them instead of addressing the real issue. The commonality between the van, see, that's the problem with the van on Young and Finch. They could use the gun theory, although they shot him because he was running down everybody. What are you supposed to do? Register every van? Well, actually, you're supposed to, but it's a and well, somebody shot. Not at this moment, you've identified the guy as a 29-year-old guy who used a handgun. It looked like a white guy. But you see, they can't figure this out. I think they're using guns as an excuse. In the U.S., the guns are the reason. In Canada, guns are not the reason because guns are very closely controlled. But they're a good excuse for the city folks. Last year we had a van run down, a terrible bastard, ran down people on Young and Finch. They couldn't use the gun theory on him. And they've had a couple knives and knifings and stuff, and they couldn't use the gun on him. It's really easy to blame guns in Canada because they're blaming it in the States. But in Canada, there's a different reason. If you look at the reason, it's because our mental health system is screwed. I should know. I tried to get into it. I suffer from chronic depression. I didn't know this. Before 2008, I didn't know what depression was. As it turns out, I had it ever since I was in school, high school. Yeah, it wasn't until 2008 that I actually saw a sunny day for once. Oops, and got to hold on to this. I hate being a tripod. One can be a clod, but not a tripod. So, what's the issue here? It's the mental health system. Lack of funding. Because Canada, what happened with Canada is they turned out a lot of people. In the U.S., they just jail everybody and execute them. That solves their mental health problems. In Canada, we have a more humane way of dealing with the mental health, but the problem is the mental health workers we have now, I'd say it's easy to say they're pretty incompetent. They lay off they're using a reference system. They make money by references. They should be on a funding, like don't go by the number of cases, go by the hours you put in, right? Well, the mental health system in Ontario, at least in Ontario, is broken. And that's the common thread. Each one of these guys who were shooters or killers or van drivers or whatever could have been helped, including Sandy Ateem, who got shot by and including the person Sandy Ateem shot. It doesn't matter if you are legally guilty. It means that the failure of the mental health system. There's no place for these people to go. So, but that's the hard way of doing it. They want a nice, easy system that they can get votes on for next issue, so they'll act up on guns. Shut up. It's a notification. So, they're crazier than spats. They're batshit crazy. What are they going to do? I can tell you one thing. Somebody's got to come up with common sense. First, you've got to narrow the gap between the rich and the poor again. If you study all this economic nonsense, the great predictor of social violence is the wage gap. I know rich guys don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. Rich guys could get richer as long as they make everybody else richer too. You know, it just makes sense. And it happens. It works too. So I'm just simply saying, guns ain't going to do it. Working on the mental health system, making it more accessible, is more important and will result in a positive. That's what we have to worry about. So, have a good day.